Yeah. According to Cassie's lawsuit, she said over the next decade, multiple times each year, Diddy would violently beat her, leaving bruises on her body. And after every incident...
What's up? It's Outer Space, man. Roger Bonds goes crazy, and he detailed that he saw Diddy abuse Cassie on multiple occasions, and Diddy used to buy her a lot of gifts and let her stay at the hotel by herself. So Diddy know what he was doing. This ninja was doing this shit for so long. That video that came out, I know that wasn't the first time, because that shit was just cruel, and we had to hold this ninja accountable. He's a certified sucker. He needed to be there, but it is what it is, man. You need to watch a full video. Let's get it.
He would use his money and power to orchestrate extensive efforts to hide the evidence of the abuse. He would keep her in hotels to let the bruises heal, shower her with gifts, etc., etc. Now, you yourself said that you saw 3 different instances of this specific abuse. So, let's talk about the 3 instances. One of which happened on Sunset Boulevard in LA, coming out of a party. I guess that Cassie was talking to Johnny Wright. He was a music manager that used to manage Danity Kane and was involved in a bunch of other stuff. What happened next?
I seen her coming out after she was talking to him, and I seen Puff run up on her. And he just hit her out of nowhere. And she fell to the ground, and I'm looking to the left and the right, and I run up on him. And I said, yo, what are you doing, yo? And I grabbed him up off her. And then after I grabbed him, he stopped him, and then he ran up on her again. And this time she fell on the floor on the side of the car, side of the truck. And I ran up on him again, and I grabbed him again. And I said, yo, what are you doing? We inside here. Yo, get in the car. And I pushed him inside the car. Cassie got inside the car. They started fighting inside the car again. I had to pull over, get back out the car, separate them again. By this time, Cassie is just like her hair is distraught. I didn't see the bruises at that particular time. And then we took them back to the house, and they went into the room, and they started fighting again. And then I seen Cassie run up out the room, and he was like, yo, Bonds, get her out of here. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. And the assistants had called over, and they called over to the London hotel. And he said, yo, take her over to the London. And I went to the front desk. They had her keys ready for her and everything. And then she went upstairs to the London hotel.
Well, this was covered in the lawsuit. According to her words, she said in the car leaving the club, Diddy beat her, pushed her into a corner of the vehicle, and stomped on her face. Diddy's security, Roger Bonds, you're actually named in the lawsuit, tried to stop the beating but was unable to de-escalate the situation. When the car arrived to Diddy's house, Cassie tried to run away, but Diddy followed her, proceeded to kick her again in the face. Cassie was bleeding profusely.
Man, Diddy's just an imbecile. He's not a good person. This ninja is evil, and he got daughters. Man, he be beating the shit out of Cassie over and over, and all of you Bodyguard did not do shit. All you're trying to say that Puff been doing a lot of abuse to Cassie, Kim Porter, all of his girlfriends, he did the same shit. So this is a shit that been going on for so long. He got a track record for abusing females. But what he did to Cassie, he treated her even worse. He been beating the shit out of her. And then when he's finished, he sent her to the hotel where she stay alone, and he give her a lot of gifts. Man, gifts can't pay for nothing. You're going if Diddy continue to do the same shit over and over, he would have did something really serious to this girl, man. And he was really getting out of control. Because if Cassie was my sister, I would have smacked the shit out of the diddler. I would have smacked him so hard, he had to get me killed. Because no way you can be treating a female like that. And all of you ninjas know what was going on. And now you're coming out on interviews saying that Diddy did this, Diddy did that. And you did not try to prevent all of these situations that been going on. Man, this ninja was really out of control. So we had to hold him accountable. He was really on some wild timing, man. So a lot of people are saying why Cassie did not leave the relationship. Diddy won't let her. She tried to leave the relationship and Kid Cudi's car got blown up and something happened to his dog. What type of man is this? This man was so dangerous. Cassie was scared for her life, and she was in love with Diddy because she was young and naive. She was living her best life. She get all of the jewelry, all of the bags, all of the lifestyle that she always wanted. But she was getting abused in the process. But it is crazy, man. You need to watch a full video. Let's get it.
And was ushered into his house where she began to throw up from the violent attack. Upon recognizing the damage he had done and the evidence of the abuse, he panicked and he forced his staff to bring her to a hotel suite at the London Hotel, she just said,
right,
where she was required to stay for a week. While in the hotel, she has to go home to her parents, but Diddy wouldn't let her leave. She lied to her mother when the story was kind of started to circulate, and he basically told one of his assistants to buy her a whole bunch of gifts, and they were delivered to the hotel room to try to pacify her.
Right.
So the stories pretty much match up.
Exactly.
So everything I just described
is what I'm saying.
Is what you're saying.
Because it's true.
Okay. Did you actually see her at the London Hotel?
Yes.
And
I would go and check on her.
You would go and check on her?
I would go and check on her.
And you described she had a black eye?
Yeah, she had a black eye. And one time that I went, she opened up her shirt. Because I said, yo, Cassie, you okay? And she was just looking at me. She looked at me like, I looked at her like a daughter at this particular time. But you had to be really careful with Cassie, because if you talk to her while she's alone, she'll tell you one thing. But it was like she was so scared of Diddy that when she got alone with Diddy, she would actually tell him that she was talking to you. So she told me she opened up her shirt. She only had to open it one button. And she opened up her shirt and she had purple bruises all over her chest. And she just started crying.
Right. I guess you said that she was worried that it might be more serious, like her ribs were broken.
Right. But he had some doctors go check on her. He didn't want to see her, and he didn't want her around the house because he didn't want to face what he did to her. He didn't want people asking questions about what happened. So she stayed in the London Hotel. Then from there, if I'm remembering correctly, she went home for a little while, and then the next time you just seen her back at the house like nothing happened.
Well, the question that a lot of people ask was, if you saw this, and there is no gray area here in terms of what happened, he viciously beat her, she's badly messed up, but you didn't leave your job. You continue to work for him. So in a way, people are almost blaming you for enabling the situation in a way.
Right. I find that kind of funny that people say that, right? Because out of so many security people, out of so many assistants, so many people around, why did Cassie mention my name? And the reason she mentioned my name is because I was the only one that would try to help her in those situations, which in reality at that particular time, I was able to diffuse these situations, or at least to get him to like, damn, Bonds just broke it up. Okay, that gives a person a time to now think about what they doing. So to me, I felt like me getting in between that was stopping the situation of him maybe even accidentally pushing her on the floor, murdering her, killing her, whatever. But the reason I didn't leave, and I would say it was the same reason she didn't leave. You know, she didn't leave because she was scared of her blackballing him. Him blackballing her.
Yeah.
So she would always come back. She would leave for a week or two, come back. I was in the same situation, just coming home from jail not too long ago, running around the city and the state. So manipulation doesn't just go for women. Manipulation goes for all your staff. So being the powerful man that he was, I knew that if I left him, that there was no other artist that was gonna hire me, because I was with Diddy, and who was big enough to go against him? What was he gonna say about, yo, you don't want Bonds around you? So I stayed longer, but what I did was I started watching situations. I started trying to talk to Cassie about situations, and Cassie would just go back and tell him everything that I said. So it became a time when I was booking Cassie to go on trips where he would no longer let me book her. He would no longer let me be around her alone, because he knew that I was talking to her about situations. But the reason that I really didn't actually just get up and leave was because who was going to look after them if I did leave? Nobody else was getting in the middle of it.
Yeah. Did you ever physically get into it with Diddy? Like trying to stop these situations? Would you ever try to grab him and push him off?
I would grab him, and sometimes he'd be like, yo, get off of me. Get off of me. I'd be like, I'm not letting you go until you calm down. Calm down. You know what I'm saying? Because I was at that time, I was big at that time. I think I was like 260, 250. So I would be like, yo, just calm down, yo. Look what you're doing. You try to bring a person back to remembering what they doing. And at that particular time, it would work. Now, what would go on later on, just like you seen in Cassie video, wasn't nobody around them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things would escalate when it was only them around. Yeah, the initial hit would come when people was around. But once you get into the middle of that and you stop that, he's going to cease it for that particular time. And then when they get alone, that's when it would carry on. So now if I turned around and left, and that's what I tell people all the time, if I turned around and left, and then the next day it escalates, if them other people around there is not there to get in between it, as well as taking care of my family, that's one reason also, who else was going to stop it?
Well, according to her lawsuit, there was another incident that happened in New York after a party with Jay-Z. It was an Escalade. And she said that Diddy started to beat her, kick her, and so forth. He forced her out of the car on Fifth Avenue in New York. She eventually got a cab and got to her apartment in Manhattan, where she basically came home, cried in fear, and she spent 3 days in her apartment. Do you know about this incident?
I know about the incident, but I wasn't there for that night. Because when we went to New York, Paulie would take over.
Right. Paulie was the New York guy.
Right.
You were the out-of-town guy.
Yeah.
Got it. But you did see a fight when you guys were in a Cadillac at one point.
Yes.
And you guys were driving.
Yes.
Describe what happened.
Her and Puff was fighting, and I broke it up again. And I put Puff in the front seat, and I put Cassie in the back seat. And he was just sitting there, and I was like, yo, y'all can't be acting up like this, man. And then Cassie had punched him in the face, rightfully. She punched him in the face, and they started fighting, and I had the window open. And people started pulling up. Oh, shit, that's Diddy and Cassie in there fighting, and I'm trying to roll the window up at the same time. So in my mind, I was happy because I actually seen her fight back. In my mind, I was happy. And then when we got to the house, I pulled both of them out. And at this time, I was able to grab Puff. And I was able to start walking him up the hill. We lived in Beverly Hills. So I started walking him up the hill. And then Cassie ran behind me and she kicked him. You know what I'm saying? When he went to chase her, I grabbed him again. And I was able to stop it. So these are the things that people don't talk about. So I was able to stop it at that time, and then later on they went in the house. It was almost like they would stay in the room for 2-3 days at a time, doing nothing but getting high. And then when they came out the room, it was like a different person. Cassie would be like a whole different type of person. She was very quiet. She started really not talking. And that's when I started realizing, like, she's at the point where she's just terrified.
Well, when she punched Diddy in the face in the car, I guess she had a ring on?
Yeah, she had a ring on. She had a monkey ring on. And the reason I remember this monkey ring on is because Uncle Paulie had left this same ring in L.A. one time. And he said, yo, Bonds, when you get to the house in L.A., yo, I left Cassie ring. So I said, okay, I'll get it. So I got the ring and I put it in a tissue. And you know how you just empty your pockets out one day? I emptied my pockets out and I threw the ring away. And this ring was a $10,000 ring. So I just threw it away. So when I went back to Ralph's to look in the parking lot, it wasn't there. So I went to, I forgot the jeweler name, famous jeweler on Fifth Avenue. It's Loren, something Loren. And I went to her. She knew who I was. And she gave me the same ring again on a payment plan. And I said, yo, I can't go back and tell them I lost this ring. And she said, okay, I'm going to give you the ring, Bonds, but you got to pay me $1,000 every month. And I said, okay. And lo and behold, it was a see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil ring.
The three monkeys.
The three monkeys.
Yeah.
But this was a see no evil. So the ring that she gave me was a hear no evil. Everything else was the same. And once again, when Cassie got in the room alone with Puff, for some reason she was afraid, and the next thing I heard was, Bonds, pick up the phone, pick up the phone. And I picked up the phone, and he said, yo, what happened? You lost the ring? You lost Cassie's ring? And I said, yeah, I lost the ring. He said, why you ain't tell me? I said, why should I tell you? I said, you always arguing with people about not handling things themselves. So I went down to the jeweler. I took responsibility, and I got another ring. He said, yeah, but that's not exactly the ring. You had to really look at it and see that it was different. And he left it at that. But that was just one of the reasons why I couldn't really talk to Cassie and couldn't really help Cassie, because when she was on drugs, she would tell him everything.
So it's almost like two crackheads that are always fighting each other in a way, just high off drugs and just beating each other up, like the shit you see in the street almost.
Yes.
Because they're all high on drugs as all this is happening.
Yeah, they all the time. And then they would get the IVs in the morning and have the people come shoot them up with nutrients and things like that. And then the next thing would happen again. They wouldn't do these type of things in the house most of the time. It was like he had houses in LA, but he would say, yo, this Friday, me and Cassie going to a hotel. And they would go from Friday to Monday. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever they was doing, they didn't want people that lived in the house with him. Like, I lived in the house. One of his assistants lived in the house. The stuff that they was doing and the people that was coming to see him, they didn't want nobody else to see.
Well, there was an incident where you saw Puffy punch her in the face.
Yeah.
What happened there?
He punched her in the face, and it was almost like she was a little kid. Like she was embarrassed that it happened. And I looked at him, and when he know he does something wrong, Puff himself is like a little kid when he knows he does something wrong. You know, he has a look on his face, and then you know not to ask him about it. So I never asked him about it, what it was for, what was going on. It was times where if she talked to a guy too long, he would get upset, and then the next thing you know, they was fighting. But around me, he started to become conscious of what he was doing, because I would always break it up.
Well, you said that they had an abusive relationship that went both ways. Like you said, in the car, she punched him in the face with a ring on that, I guess, cut him.
No, I didn't cut him.
I didn't cut him, but it left an impression,
right?
You know, on his face. And both of them were hit each other, but him more than her.
Nah, I'm not. I'm gonna say, when I say hit each other, I'm gonna say it's one or two incidents she hit back. But let's be real, Vlad. I've had fights with my wife, you know what I'm saying, and she can hit me. It's nothing compared to if I was to hit her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I say that they have an abusive relationship, I say sometimes she did fight back. But when I say fight back, this is after years.
Yeah.
This wasn't like the beginning, because at the beginning she would just ball up and crawl up. And to see him hit her would be like, you mad about something else. Like what are you really mad about? You know what I'm saying? And it became a point where, like, even everything that they talk about, like, you wouldn't know that all of this was going on, because the immediate crew thought that was wifey. Like, she was off, you know, nobody could say nothing to Cassie. So it was like, I love her. And it was times that me and him talk. And he would say, yo, Barnes, I don't know what to do. I said, what you mean you don't know what to do? It's coming a time where I'm going to have to make a decision between Kim and Cassie. You know what I'm saying? You know, Shorty want to get married. You know what I'm saying? And I remember one specific time he asked me that. We was in the Hamptons, and I gave him an answer. And I said, even though you love Cassie, I said, you know, Kim is your ride or die. She got the kids. And what I didn't know was, and he didn't know, is that he butt dialed Cassie. And the next week, Cassie came and told me, she said, Bonds, I heard you. I said, you heard what? She said, I heard you tell Puff to take Kim over me. And I was like, She said, nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And we never spoke about it again. You know?
Well, yeah. I mean, from people I talked to that were close to Puff, they all told me that Puff refused to get married because he loved his money too much. And he couldn't comprehend potentially getting a divorce and splitting some of his money.
He told me that out of his own mouth. He said, I'm not giving nobody 50% of what I got.
Yeah. From people I've talked to that were around Cassie during this time, Cassie really wanted to marry Puffy. And I remember a private conversation I had with someone, you know, an executive that everybody knows. They were, you know, basically hanging out one day, and he said the whole time, the whole ride back was, hey, can you convince your friend Puffy to marry me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get married. I'm tired of just being his girlfriend. You know, can you talk to him, convince him to get married? She wanted to marry him, but he never wanted to marry her.
I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, and, you know, during these abusive situations, you would sometimes take Cassie to the hospital?
Yes.
To the Beverly Hills Hospital, and you would go the back door.
Through the back entrance, yes.
Okay. And
it's been times that I took her there, and it's been times I took Diddy there.
Oh.
Where I don't know if it's called the overdose. I don't know whatever you call it underneath them circumstances. But it was times that I had to take him through the back door for there also.
Okay. And the hospital basically just asked no questions?
No questions. It was.
Man, this interview is interesting, man. Roger Bounce detailed all the abuse that he has seen with Diddy abusing Cassie. And he said that Cassie smacked Diddy too. They're both drug addicts. They will be in a room for 3 days and be getting high, where they have to take IVs. These two people was really out of control, man. I don't know what Diddy did to Cassie's mind, but he was controlling her, telling her what to do, and she had to do it because she was so in love and scared with Diddy, so she had to do what he tell him to do. And Diddy was so delusional, letting Cassie call him Pop Pop. Man, this ninja was really out of control. He thought that he was so untouchable, he can control all of the girls and all of the guys and get them to do freaky shit and get them to do all type of weird shit, man. So I understand that Cassie wanted to leave this relationship for a long time, and Diddy was not letting her. Not because you're getting money and he's gonna let you be a superstar, you should take abuse. That shit was really out of control. And all of these people that was around was enablers. So I understand that Roger Bonds was just getting out of jail and he got a job with Puffy, and he don't want to get fired or get blackballed because he got so much control in this industry. He can get you fired and you can't get no work anywhere because no recommendation is gonna be given. So Diddy was just a real sucker, man, and we had to hold this ninja accountable. He was really getting out of control. But I'm glad that Cassie got the $30 million. She got kids because she wanted to get married to Diddy. She wanted to have kids for Puff Daddy, but Diddy did not want that shit. Diddy was turning her in a freak. But everyone got to realize that Cassie was a freak for a long time. Diddy just let out her wild side. Diddy was a real ninja, man. This ninja was out of control, getting all of these broads doing some freaky shit. But it is what it is, man.
Don't be afraid to Cassie that Diddy, because why crash out, giving someone that wanted to destroy you the very reaction that they were looking for, when you can heal, get right with yourself, actively, on a daily basis, move on with your life, and leave all of these people behind. And we know a lot of times we will walk away from people quietly, and they'll think everything's sweet. So not only will they keep trying you, they link up with all your ops and try you as a collective. But I just want you to know, no matter how many people they tell, they're still lying. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. But if after and as you're healing, you one day wake up and they are still coming for you, you do not give them what they're looking for. Baby, this is a celebration. Because at that point, Cassie, that Diddy. Because, unfortunately, many of us have met several Diddys in our lifetime. Some of us even have them in our families, male and female. And after years of being the common denominator, In the narcissistic cycle of a Diddy, you say enough is enough and you choose yourself when you walk away and you worry about you. And that's not enough for them and it never will be. So before you have an emotional breakdown that could lead you to be one of his cellmates, Cassie that Diddy.